Hello everyone and welcome back to Hockey Talk. I'm your host Jack Brooks, and today I will be recapping yet another prediction that I made before the season started. And now before we get started, last episode I did do a bold prediction, so I won't do on this podcast. And then on that note, let's get started into this episode. So as you may know, before the season started, I did a prediction about who I thought would win the two divisions in the Western Conference. And I said that the Nashville Predators would win the Central Division, and here's how they're doing so far. Now, they are indeed first in the division with a record of 16-6-1. Now, this is already a phenomenal team. We have seen them win the division many times. I've talked about in earlier podcasts about this team being so phenomenal. It seems like they're always winning the division. They're always on top of their game. They can show you they can make the playoffs, and yes, they don't do good in the playoffs because the one time they'll make the cup, they'll lose. But now they might not be able to do so well in the playoffs. But, however, they do phenomenal in the regular season, and that's what winning the division is all about. They are actually they're not only the first in the division, they're not even only first in the conference, but they are tied for first in the NHL. And the other team that they are tied with is the Tampa Bay Lightning, FYI. So this is, like I said, just a phenomenal team. When it comes down to the regular season, they're all on top of their game. They play really well. It's almost no contest when it comes to who's winning this Central Division. And that's what I was thinking when I made this prediction. And so far, it's looking pretty good for me so far. Now, like I just said, I still do think that they will win the division. This is an overpowered team that they have at most of the time in a really weak conference. They are definitely by far the best franchise in this conference, and they are doing so phenomenal this season so far. Like I said, a record of 16 wins, 6 losses, 1 loss in overtime, tied for the best team in the NHL. They are just doing great this season so far. They have definitely a really big chance at winning the division. And now, listen, like I said earlier about them winning the division a lot, and they've proven that they can go far in the playoffs. Like I said, it seems like that they're always winning the division, and I said that they don't do so well in the playoffs. I'm saying that because they are unable to eventually win the Stanley Cup. Now, look, they can make the cup. We've already seen them do that when they lost against the Penguins. We've seen them make the conference championship, conference finals a couple times in a row. Yes, they lost, but they can still power through the playoffs. It's just I say that they don't do so good because they're unable to execute it when it really matters. But we're talking about winning the division. And that's all about the regular season. Like I said, they're so on top of their game. They have a phenomenal offense. They have had for many years. They have just a great organization. They have a lot of management that really knows how to improve their team. We've seen them use a lot of their late round draft picks very well, and that has worked out for them so much. They are just a really good hockey team. And by the way, the team in second place is the Minnesota Wild with a record of 14-7-2. So as you can see, a 16-6-1 team versus 14-7-2. As I said, even the second place team, yes, they're kind of making it close, but still not really. They do have one more loss, 2 less wins, and then one more loss in overtime. So this team, to me, if they can just continue what they've been doing so are this season, they can do really, really, really good. And now the team that I said would win the Pacific Division is the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and here's how they're doing so far. Now look, they're fourth in the division with a losing record of 11 wins, 12 losses, and then 1 loss in overtime. Now, I know that sounds bad, and I know it seems like the only reason why I picked them to win the division is because of the fact that this is their second year in the NHL, and they've already made the cup. They haven't won it, but man, they have made it. And now listen, this is still a good hockey team. Now, you cannot count the Vegas Golden Knights out. They are the second ever expansion team to manage to make the cup when the Toronto Maple Leafs during their expansion year did manage to win the Stanley Cup. They are just a great, great hockey organization. They've already proven themselves in the NHL. And now listen, the team in first is the Sharks with the record of 12-7-4. Yes, they're way ahead of them. Yes, the Vegas Golden Knights don't have a playoff spot yet. But now the thing is with the Vegas Golden Knights, they can surprise everyone. Who would have thought that the Las Vegas Golden Knights would make the Stanley Cup in their expansion year, being the second team in NHL history to do so? They have proven a lot of people wrong. They have shocked a ton of NHL fans now, and also they have improved since the season started. Remember when I was talking in a podcast about how they were in last place, then how in another podcast the next day how they were in 7th place, and then remember the time I talked about them crawling their way up and being in 4th place. Now listen, they have improved a ton. When the season first started, I thought I'd say we were about 8 or 9 games in. They were in dead last place. The only team that was close to them was the Kings, and they were still down by like 2 games. Now, they have already improved. They have clawed their way back up to 4th place. They now have a record of only 11, 12, and 1, just barely out of the wild card spot. They definitely do still have a chance as long as the Sharks choke in the regular season, which you can count on them doing. And that's just the team in first place. We still have the second and third placed teams. So really all they need to do, they've needed to put away their start of the season aside and do what they have been doing really recently, crawling their way back up in the division and doing very well. And that's why I think that they still will win the division. Because like I said earlier, with the great organization, shocking a lot of people, turning a lot of heads, this is a great hockey organization. They definitely know what moves they need to make to improve their team, like we've seen from this organization already. They are determined to claw their way back up in the division and get in the playoff spot. They are determined to just throw what happened at the start of the season, really persevere and manage to come back and win this division. So I think that they still do have a pretty good chance of winning this division, and I'm keeping my word when I say the Vegas Golden Knights will be the Pacific Division champions this season. And that's what I'm going to end this episode on. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed. Please like the podcast and leave a comment down below on who you think will win the 2 divisions in the Western Conference. Also, please join me here tomorrow where I will do yet another episode. And until then, I'm Jack Brooks signing off for now here on Hockey Talk.